Good, good afternoon, everyone. Happy to be here with the team from BIOPIX-T and our partners from Metavallon. I think I'm happy to say we're opening up this investment opportunity after having been in touch together, I think, for the past 6 to 9 months, something like that. So working closely with the team, understanding also their challenges, but as well as the potential of what they're doing here, and working closely with both Metavallon and as well as 11, the co-investors in this round. And without further ado, I'll invite our guests here today. So George Karadonis from Metavallon, Sergius from BIOPIX-T, and George, the CEO of BIOPIX-T. I'll invite you to do a very short introduction just to associate a name to a face. And then I'll invite the team to go through the deck. And as usual, for the investors, please ask your questions in the Q&A space, and we'll address them in the second part of today's call. So, gentlemen, who wants to start?
George.
Let's start with George.
George is a very common name in Greece, so you always get more than one. Okay, hello everybody. My name is George Karantonis. I am partner of in Metavallon VC. We are an early stage venture capital fund based in Athens, Greece, and we are one of the first investors in BIOPIX, and we are very happy to be such investors. And I'm here and I will be glad to answer any questions you have. So I pass to the other George.
Hello, everyone. My name is also George Papadakis. I'm one of the co-founders of this company, BIOPIX-T. I'm also one of the core inventors of the technology behind the BIOPIX-T, and I'm also the CEO of the company. And I'm also happy to answer all your questions this afternoon.
And in my turn, I am Sergios Katsaros. I am the commercial co-founder of the company, and I'm heading the commercial department and investor relations. I'm very happy to be here. Thank you all for attending. And I will be delivering the pitch and then passing on your questions to the Georges of the panel. So if I may, Eric, shall I?
Yeah, please do.
Please let me know when it's visible.
Yes, we can. We can.
Excellent. So we are BIOPIX DNA technology. 1 second. We are a company that was founded at the end of 2019, developing molecular diagnostics for the point of care. So the company was founded shortly before the pandemic, without knowing what was coming. It was funded in 2020 by 2 VCs, Metavallon VC from Greece and 11 VC from Bulgaria. And we also got funds from the European Union in a COVID response call to develop our solution as fast as possible and release it in the market. We now are 18 people strong, and we already have 3 products in the market. Our missions from the founding moment was to offer portable diagnostic devices to every potential end user, regardless of their financial status or geographical location. Our aim was to help healthcare providers and patients in developed and developing countries, and to alleviate personal suffering and control disease outbreaks. And our vision is to become an innovation leader in the field of molecular diagnostics and grow into an international company with significant global presence. The problem we were trying to solve when the company was founded, and still is that there is a great need for molecular diagnostic solutions at the point of care. The existing equipment, the pre-pandemic existing equipment, were too big, too expensive, or too slow to cater for the need. They created delays in results, and the alternative, which is the rapid test that we all know by now, were highly unreliable. Because of its importance for the point of care testing, the World Health Organization has put together a set of qualitative criteria describing or forming the aspiring solutions. And it is that they have to be affordable, sensitive, specific, user-friendly, rapid and robust, equipment-free, and deliverable to those who need them. With the exception of equipment-free, we introduced the Pebble. The Pebble is an instrument which was designed especially for molecular diagnostics at the point of care. It is much, much cheaper than the pre-existing solutions. It is very fast. It can analyze up to 6 samples simultaneously in under half an hour. It is operated by an Android device, and it provides real-time information, which is sometimes very important as well. It stores the results on the cloud, and it is comparable to the golden standard, which is the PCR, because it's a molecular method as well. It is CIVD certified, which means the pan-European certification. And it came to basically replace the pre-existing alternatives, which is the top lines here in the competition. These are the dominant players. Let me get my cursor. So the dominant players, but with a very slow and expensive devices. A few more solutions appeared in the market during the pandemic, facilitated by the funding that was available, each one with its own merits, improving some bit the proposition, but none of them being able to capture the complete value proposition of Pebble, which is being simultaneously low cost, very portable, reliable, fast, with high throughput, and uniquely open access, which means we allow third parties to develop applications on our device, leveraging their tests, but also our device. We have sold more than 150 devices already, or even more, and 150 are active. 40,000 tests have been performed since 2021 when we introduced the COVID tests. We have formed partnerships all over the world, but especially in South Africa, where we have partners both for development, manufacturing, and distribution. And we've been recognized along the way by many prominent institutions, but also by the EU Innovation Radar. We have registered close to 500,000 in sales, and we have patent pending applications in all major markets. We have sold devices, as you can see here, from South Africa to the UK and from New Zealand to Mexico. So we are already globally present with a few devices. Our business model is typically based, as the industry does, on razor and blades, with the difference that we can offer really an affordable instrument on which we then start building sales and the revenue and the margin of the test kits that are compatible to it. We're in the process of developing a home testing device, which is going to be much cheaper, but not offering the quantitative information that the Pebble does. So there's not fully overlap. And as I mentioned before, we also receive revenue from providing third-party access. Apart from the funding we raised at the beginning that I mentioned, the 1.45 million from the two VCs and angel investors, we got the grant of 2.4 million from the European Union in a consortium. We've registered almost 500,000 in funds, and we were seeking 5 million, but this is a bridge round stage where we are now raising part of this 5 million to facilitate the development of our next products, the post-COVID era products, let's put it that way. So with this funding, we're going to release in the market a test for malaria. Malaria is a huge market, as I will show you in a minute. And also in collaboration with Cape Bio that I mentioned earlier, a bacterial screening test, which is going to be used by physicians to decide whether antibiotics are necessary to be prescribed or not in situations where viral and bacterial infections present similar symptoms. In terms of the instrument, we're going to upgrade the Pebble by integrating the feedback from the market, which has been great, but there's always room for improvement. And we're going to release the self-testing instrument. The first target of malaria was chosen because there's over 250 million cases every year. It's not a pandemic dependent situation. And most of them are in Africa. And most of them affect the deaths referred to children. Is over $1 billion in size, or over $1 billion in size, and it is an expanding market even now. In terms of development, we went through the proof of concept in the 2 years, 2019-20 to 21. 21 to 22, we proved the product market fit. Important to note is that we went from lab to market in 1 year, which is a major achievement, given the complex task that we had at hand to release a medical device in the market, fully certified. And we are now at this stage of the expansion of products where the bridge around for entering with malaria, the bacterial screening test, the upgrade of the Pebble, and the self-testing device. Thereafter, once we successfully introduce the new products, we're going to go to scaling, both in terms of units and also in terms of different tests compatible to the two platforms we will have in the market. And in this round, we're going to use the funds to develop in the first 3 quarters. We're already running close to the 2nd quarter now, the R&D for malaria and the self-testing device. We are already progressing with that. We aim to enter the market in 2023 last quarter by selling sponsored sales of malaria tests in Africa through collaborating with NGOs, and also selling self-testing devices in Africa as well, together with the Pebble, of course, which is our main technology. And bridging in with the same funds into 2024, we will push forward with the sales of the malaria test and the self-detecting device. But also we hope to have this third-party product in the market for the bacterial screening tests. And at that point, we will run for the next round, which is the full Series A round, hopefully registering already revenue from the new products. In terms of accessing the African market with this new product, we're very confident that we can achieve it. We're going to address, as soon as we close this round, the WHO and the FIND-DX, which is the Global Alliance for Diagnostics. We have already registered products in the FIND-DX platform, and we have contacts with the WHO, attempting to get their sponsorship as well. And also, we're going to work with NGOs that we have access through our network of advisors to pre-sale the new products. We have a collaboration with Chiara Health, which is our local manufacturer and distributor, and Cape Bio, which is the company producing the new test in Africa. And we also have an extensive network through research institutions, such as the Pasteur Institute in Tunisia, the Ifakara Health Institute, and the Virus Research Institute in Uganda. Also the Tanzania Medicines and Medical Devices Authority. So we're quite well networked and ready to launch in Africa. The team behind the company is very, very strong. As I mentioned, we're 18 people strong, and we all have very high academic qualifications. The founding team is Dr. Papadakis, who's on the panel. He's the visionary and the main inventor of our technology. He developed this technology as a postdoctoral researcher, assisted by Dr. Alexandros Pantazis, who's a physicist and a biologist. He's our head of production and also designed the apparatus around the device. Nikolaos Fikas, he's a genetist, but also a keen programmer and electronics person. He designed the first electronics and he maintains the software for the application. I joined the team with 20 years of experience in finance and business development to help the company enter the next phase, fundraising and sales. And we also have one major co-founder, which is Professor Elektra Gizeli. She acts as an advisor to the company, and she continues to hold her place in academia and head the biosensors lab at the Foundation of Research and Technology, Hellas, where the company actually was quasi spun out from. The rest of the team, the CFO has over 30 years experience in the market, and all the rest of the key personnel is very highly qualified. We already started building the panel of advisors. The two first figures on the panel are Dr. Skubuza Noxvana. He is the CEO of Chiara Health, but he's also a WHO consultant. He is one of the people who designed most of the healthcare systems in Africa and the vaccine policies for the African continent. And Professor Eleni Nastouli, who heads the virology lab at University College London Hospital, and she's also an advisor to international and regional healthcare bodies. This is it. I think I will stop the presentation here and pass on the.
Thank you so much for the presentation. So, yeah, first, I mean, I'd like to take a step back and ask you how would you define this for someone who has no, let's say, medical experience? Can you explain also why the technology that you're using, why is it better on one hand, and also some, let's say, real life use cases in terms of clients that you're targeting at this point?
Okay, George Papadakis. Yeah.
Yes. I think this is for me. Well, while I was still researching and trying to develop point-of-care systems, I realized that there was a niche in the market. There was a gap where there were no systems that were affordable and easy to construct and build that would go and fit everywhere. In general, in order to perform a PCR test, which is the most reliable test and the gold standard method, you need to buy an expensive and bulky equipment. But this cannot be done by everyone and everywhere. What we have designed is a simple device so simple, but it performs exactly like a real-time PCR machine. So we have managed with our team, and this is our patent, to develop this system. We can actually produce it by ourselves, and it fits everywhere. If you see where we have sold these devices, there were small labs where they could not afford or did not have the space or the knowledge to operate a real-time PCR machine, and they all bought our system. Especially during COVID, all these small diagnostic labs purchased our product because they wanted to perform a test that was molecular, like a PCR, but they could not afford a real PCR machine system.
But one question about this, in the sense that could this be also used by, I don't know, by schools or by public administrations? I'm thinking about the accessibility.
Actually, that's the concept behind the point of care testing. It's a concept of decentralized testing, where the machine, the instrument, can go to places that you cannot perform a clinical, let's say, type of test. So in fact, we have sold this device to a truck in Germany, where this truck was going around schools and was collecting saliva samples to perform tests for COVID.
Okay.
So yes, the device is so simple to operate where a non-expert can be trained to use it.
If I may add here, Eric, can I?
Please do, please do.
Yes, I think, and George, I'm sure he will agree with me, that there are some applications that it is not just the fact that the device is easy to use and cheap, but it is also that it is fast. I mean, when you have somebody that has to take some emergency care, medical care, you need to know if he's positive to COVID. And even you cannot wait for hours for a PCR test to run. If you have a team that, is ready to attend a meeting, a big meeting or an event, a congress, and you want to be sure that there will not be the virus spread around. This is the result, the solution. If you have people that they're going to go for a cruise and they're going to be sure that the ship is safe. I mean, there are a number, in sports events, and there are a lot actually of applications that speed and time is also crucial. So this is an additional advantage of the device and the platform, let's say.
Okay, and then I think that Sergius, you mentioned also about like new types of diseases and viruses that you're testing, because unfortunately I think we're all somehow tired of hearing about COVID. So in a post-COVID world, how difficult is it for you to develop new testing capacities, and then where do you see the product evolving in the next 18 months? You're on mute, unfortunately.
For us, it's not difficult to develop new tests. Actually, we can do it within 6 months. It takes approximately 6 months to develop a new test, and then we should go through the certification route to get the approval, either in Europe or in the States or in Africa, in order to be able to sell it. So in principle, it's not difficult for us. And actually, we have a pipeline of different products already in our minds. And we agree that it's not only COVID. And this is a platform, as George mentioned earlier, so we can develop any type of test. And some of them that we're going to do is, apart from malaria that Sergius explained, we're also targeting sexually transmitted diseases, which is a major issue worldwide. And we're also trying to develop tests that will detect bacteria that are affecting the upper respiratory system, which is really important because doctors prescribe antibiotics without having the knowledge whether this antibiotic will work or not. So this is a huge problem also in Europe. We need to know before we prescribe. And all these are really serious threats to human health. And our tests will target all these in the future, in the near future.
And from a competition point of view, what are, can you, I mean, I would assume that, I mean, the existing expensive like equipments there exist, but are there any other companies trying to do what you do, and how do you differentiate from them?
I think Serious is preparing the slide.
I'm going back to the slide. So basically, this overview here concerns the Pebble, but it's a little bit different if you think of the small device that we're developing. But I'm going to focus on the Pebble, which is already in the market. So there are competitors who have not been able to match the price, or they don't match the throughput. And because somebody asked me on the panel, why do you need throughput for point of care? Because point of care is not home testing. I'm not just testing me or my kids. I might want to take this device and go into a village in Africa and test the village. So I need throughput. It's not only because I have, let's say, for this competitor here, a nice.
Can you explain in everyday English what throughput means?
Yes, I can run more tests in parallel, or I can run more tests sequentially, but very fast. So we can do up to 12 tests every hour. And for an instrument that only costs as little as our costs, this is a very big advantage. So, for example, the malaria test we are developing now, which is targeting Africa, it means that you can have the device going through to a village and testing large numbers of people at the same time. So some of them got the speed, some of them got the price, some of them got the cost, but none of them was able to capture the whole offering. And some of them that actually got the cost and the speed, they have a very high carbon footprint, for example. So these devices here, they're nice, they're quick, and they provide the accurate result, but then you have to throw away the whole device because it's contaminated by the test that you run. So this concept of a reusable device with low carbon footprint, which is affordable and can run many tests and allows third parties to run their own tests, which means that even if we're not fast enough to develop tests for our platform, if our platform becomes the dominant in Africa, let's say, it will invite other people, other companies to develop their tests. Therefore, we profit and the patients as well.
And
if I may, can I make a comment here, Eric? Is it okay?
Please do. Please do.
Yeah, I can also add here that this is a huge market. It is not a market that the winner takes it all, as we say in our language. It's a market that it is huge, as I said, and there is room for more than one players. And we are sure that Pebble is a very competitive offering, and it has its leading position in the market. So we don't have to be the only solution. We have to be, and we are sure we are, one of the best solutions in the market.
And can you walk us through also a bit around the unit economics on of the device, in the sense that how much does it cost you to produce one? How do you sell it? And then you mentioned the razor and blade model. What's the, let's say, lifetime value that you're expecting on those devices?
Okay, I'm going here on a limb because I know competition is monitoring closely. But right now, because we use 3D printing, the device costs quite a bit. We do sell it with 100% markup. And this is the final price from the distributors. So the distributor puts a markup on that one. So you can imagine the cost is quite low. I don't want to say exactly how much. But once we scale up and we go into injection molding, our cost is going to halve on production. So the idea is to bundle it with a test and give it away for free. It's going to be that cheap. And in that respect, we give the shelf life of the product for 1 year minimum, although electronics can last up to 30 years, but we don't need to give a higher guarantee than 12 months because in effect, we're going to be giving it away for free. This means we don't have returns, we don't have servicing costs and all that. This little thing here It costs, as you can imagine, if it's sold with our margin and distributor margins at this price and we still make a profit, it costs very, very little. So the unit economics are there and they're in our favor. The test kits themselves, they're going to be sold for less than 10 euros per test, as you can see. At least that's what we sell them for now. And I would like to say something which gives an idea of what an exit might be for a company, because we're talking to investors right now. We can develop, because of the cost, 1 million new point of care points in Europe right now. So we don't go to steal markets from the labs and diagnostic centers. We're going to create new point of care points because there is a need for it. You have to think that there is also a market for companion diagnostics. So one of the two devices could be in every doctor's office, checking the patient before they prescribe a specific medicine. The other thing is that in places like Africa, there is a big demand for cheap, affordable devices, and the big guys could do it if they really wanted. And they promised that they would do it. But the only reason they don't do it is because they don't want to cannibalize their own sales. So our solution can go in there, dominate, let's say, the market because nobody else is willing to drop their margins. And then we become the target to acquire because we are in a dominant position. We are the complementary product to their portfolio, their main sales. So this could be easily an exit for BIOPIX, so a buyout from a competitor. And having said that, all or most of our competitors, the established ones, were once startups that were bought by these big household names.
Mm-hmm. And we also have a specific question that I'm not sure how to interpret, but I'm sure you have the knowledge. So by mentioning self-tests, the question is, which class of IVDR is Pebble, and is this also including an Android or a phone app?
Okay. The Pebble, which is not for self-testing, is for professional use only, is a Class A device. And the same would run for the self-testing device, which is not going to be accompanied by an application, at least not at the first stage. It might have an accompanying application at the end, but it's not going to be an application which gives a result. So it's not going to be medical software. It's going to be just software confirming or registering your result. This one does not yet produce an answer of yes or no. It gives you a graph, and it's given for interpretation to the physician. This is the way we entered the market within 1 year because it was very fast to produce it that way. We have the software to develop it to give an automatic yes or no, but it hasn't been released yet. I don't know if that answers the question.
Yeah. I mean, I hope so, and if not, we'll have a follow-up on that. George Karadonis from Metavallon, I wanted to ask you, I mean, you've been with the company, I think, for more than 2.5 years now, so you know them from the start until now. What do you think are the main achievements that the company has managed to do so far, and what are the main risks moving forward, but also what excites you moving forward?
Yes. I think, we met the team in a meeting back in the beginning of the year 2020, in a meeting of the Greek bio cluster, and they introduced the team to us with very high recommendations. So, and this is true because as Metavallon, we are trying to find good teams that come out of the leading Greek research institutes, and they also combine the business acumen, and they have the capacity to transform to actual companies and be able to scale. So I think that BIOPIX is a good example of this kind of company and team. They managed to go from the development of the actual device and the first 2 tests to get all the regulatory clearance and to enter the market in more or less a year, as Sergio said. And they had also to operate in a very rapidly changing environment before COVID, during COVID, and at the end of the pandemic. And they managed to adjust quickly to the changing conditions. And in addition to the original test, to have now a very good pipeline of new tests that they are developing, and a market that they are ready to enter, like the African market, where the certification process is shorter. So I think that we have a very good midterm plan for the, let's say, for scaling the sales and the company overall, as well as a long-term plan where devices like Pebble will accompany and will help every physician to do their job in a better way. So I think we have the present, the near future, and the vision for the future for the company, and we are very optimistic about them.
And when do you see, I mean, what are, let's say, the main goals? And I think this is a question for all of you. What are the main achievements that you want to have within the next, I don't know, 24 months in order to raise the next round? And I mean, both from the team perspective as well as from the VC perspective. I think we can start with the VC perspective.
I think that right now, when we are talking about medical devices, there is, and especially in the European Union, the certification process, it takes time. So we have a plan to develop new tests, to enter the African market at the beginning, working on the certification in the European Union on parallel, and maybe the US as well, and so that we have a continuous flow of additional, let's say, products and additional revenues. So the first, now the target is clearly to scale our sales. And I think that this will start from the fourth quarter of this year, and it will continuously scale as the new products arrive to the market. And by the time that we'll go out to raise the new, the full Series A round, I think that we will also have substantial sales to back our plans.
George, Sergius, do you want to add anything to this?
Yes, I want to add that my experience with our clients is that they loved the product. They loved the design, they loved the way it performs, and they've been asking for more tests. So I'm in the same line with George. We need to produce more tests for our clients, and we need to grow as a company and establish our presence in Europe and in Africa. And we have already started thinking about the States. So our plans for the next 2 years, yes, more products for the Pebble device, a new device. We need to establish our presence, and I'm sure we're going to succeed in this because people love what we've built so far, and that's not going to change.
Okay, well, last but not least is to wrap up. Can you, I mean, I'm asking all of you, what are, let's say, the main 1-2 reasons why an individual investor should participate in this round? And I mean, why specifically now? Because we covered why BIOPIX, but why join now? Whoever wants to start. George, I think Cardonis, I think you had the most arguments so far.
Yes, I think that this is the right timing, because we have proven that we can very successfully manage the risks. We have developed the test, we have certified the test, we have made sales, we have produced the actual device, and we have found the right partners to produce the test. we have find distributors, we have entered different markets, we have supported successfully our customers, so we have the end-to-end know-how to do this job, and we are ready for takeoff in terms of, let's say, the commercial activity. So I am very positive that this is the right timing for an investor to join this team and this venture, that it's also on a very serious, on a very important mission for the global health and our world.
On this
And
positive
in
note,
one word, I would say we have the momentum.
I agree.
all right. Well, thank you so much, gentlemen, for your time today. Just as a reminder to our investors, so the opportunity is live on the Sibling page, Sibling platform already. If there are any additional questions, feel free to address them in the discussion tab. I'm sure that I mean, the team has been extremely responsive so far, and I mean, if there are any additional questions or follow-up calls that need to be scheduled, we can gladly organize that. So in this context, I thank you very much for your time, and I wish you a great evening.
Thank you for the opportunity, Eric.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Have a great day. Bye-bye.